Hello Internet, James Allen from Out of 8, and today I'm playing 4X strategy game Chieftain. Start a new game here. It takes place on randomized maps, which we'll get to the drawbacks of that in a minute. When you start out, you can select your race, which has different abilities and drawbacks depending on that. I'll just choose the default humans. It also randomizes a name for it, and it randomizes your flag. You can adjust the map size. I'll start with a small map. When you adjust the map size, it automatically changes the number of enemies you have to deal with, which, as you'll see, is a problem. The seed, what type of terrain you have, we'll just kind of choose the defaults here, and we'll start the new game. So it generates the map in the background, while it loads the new game. As with most 4X games, the objective is to conquer all of your enemies, either by allying with them or just by taking them over with force. And we'll get to the game here in a minute once it generates the map. The initial map generation takes a little bit of time, putting all the tiles together. But that's okay. I am a big fan of randomized maps in general. So, all right. So starting out, like I said, these are randomized, so you can actually luck out with your starting location. Everybody ends up getting a thing of iron, which is over here. But sometimes I've gotten maps before where I've gotten like 2 tiles. Like you can see, this guy right here has 3, so he's basically not going to win. So a lot of and see, this guy got a whole ton of villages too, so he's going to basically win the game without even really any discussion about it. I also have a lot of tundra over next to me, which is bad. So I'm basically screwed, I would say. That there's no real way I'm going to win this scenario. The reason is each of your resources can only be accrued on certain locations. Gold is collected by towns and villages, but villages can only be placed on fields. So all of these forests over here, I cannot terraform. I can't clear the forest and make it a field and then turn the field into a village. So the only places where I can put villages are this tile and probably these 2 over here, although I'm going to be competing with this guy for the ability to do that, and then maybe this tile over here, but that guy's probably going to get that one. I can't use any of the tundra tiles for anything. Now, in addition to that, food is collected on farms, and farms can only go on fields. So, really, you have to, or plains. Really, you have to choose which what you're going to use your tiles for, which is interesting in and of itself. But because of the way that the maps are made, it becomes really problematic. You'll notice that you start really close to other factions. And like I said, you cannot adjust how far away initially you are from other people, as far as I can figure out from that from the options present in the game there. So you're usually right up against people, or maybe there's a halo of like 1 tile, 1 hex worth. So you really run out of space very quickly. So the beginning of the game becomes a competition of who can grab the tiles the quickest. You don't have to grab tiles that are immediately adjacent to an existing one. You can go halfway across the map and grab something if you want, but things get gobbled up very quickly. So much of the game depends on what terrain you get at the beginning. And your enemies are always really, really close as well. The wood can be taken from lumberyards, of which I always seem to spawn next to a lot of trees, so that will not be a problem. And then iron only comes from these mined areas, and every single one of them is owned by one of the nations to begin with, so you can't actually find any of those out on the map. So inside of each of your towns, you can create a new army, which I don't want to do yet. I'm going to wait till I expand out. You can create settlers, which will found new villages. And then you can also do builders, who can build farms or lumber yards to get the trees. So basically what I'm going to do, the first step in here is to increase my resources. Because I have a lot of wood up here, I really need to focus on these tiles here. I need at least 1 more village and probably 1 more food, and that's going to be kind of my goal. And I'll probably try to focus on getting to this one, which is near this enemy here, and then we'll see how it goes. So I think I'll likely be able to get 2 of these, 2 out of 3, and then I'll focus on the wood up here, and then we'll see how my resources are doing after that. So the first thing I want to do is I'll actually probably go for the settler first. Oh no, I can't, because settlers are 2,000. Haha. So they're very expensive in addition to that. So it's going to take me another couple turns to get that. So I'll actually probably do the builder first, because you start out with just enough resources for the builder. And then I'll be able to move him next turn. So I'm going to move him probably here, and then try to get a farm going, so that'll increase my food income by 100 a turn. So this part of the game, the map part of the game, is turn-based, whereas the battles are real-time. And we'll try to get to the point where we can do battles. Every unit can move 1 hex per turn, and there can only be 1 unit per hex, which means you can block people and get blocked based on how the turn order goes. So he got that, so I cannot take that tile. So I'm going to use this guy and move him here, and then next turn I will put a farm there. So he made his farm there, which is kind of what I anticipated was going to happen, and then he's going to make a farm at that tile. So that'll bring my food income up. Now, I have to wait until I have another 1,000 wood in order to build a builder that can start getting wood. So I cannot do anything for the next 7 turns, which is unfortunate for me. That's simply because I started out with 0, really. Wood producing thing. So I'm going to keep hitting end turn until I get up to 1,000, and then I got to build my my guy so I can start collecting some wood. Now while this is happening, I have all these resources I can't really do anything with until I end up having 1,000 wood. So here's my 1,000. So now I'll be able to build my builder, and I need wood. So the question is, how far do I want to go? Like, how far do I want to expand up? And then next I want another builder. I'm going to keep building, basically building builders until all this stuff is essentially used up. The interface is decent. It has this find idle button, which will zoom to where the unit is. The little flag icons show whether you're aligned with them or not. The blue is neutral. There are some... the mini-map is generally useless. I don't really like it too much. I like all these next buttons here. I wish there was a sentry for units that would allow them to kind of skip their turn or permanently guard a location, because it just asks you every time, even if you have a military unit that just kind of, you don't want to have them do anything yet or wait for an attack from the enemy. Okay, so that guy's there. He's got a settler going, which is interesting. So I think I'm going to move him up 1, and I will found my wood thing there. Yeah, he's about to go, so there's my lumberyard. Alright, so now I gotta wait for another time to get 1,000 wood, and again, I have so much gold and food that I don't really have anything to do with. Now, you can recruit units in here which have different resource requirements, but everything is at least 1,000 gold, and with the exception of the swordsman, is a ton of wood. So my shortage of wood, and of course not very much food, which is the one thing I have a lot of. So my shortage of wood is going to really screw me, and I bet you this guy's going to go right here and capture this, which means no more villages for me, which means I'm stuck at 400 gold for the rest of the game until I start conquering stuff. So he's attacking. Yeah. Oh, good. Good. I don't know where he's at. Yeah, he's definitely going to go right here. But there's nothing I can do about it because I don't have the resources for it. Where's the guy that declared war on me? Oh, he's way over there. Who cares? He's way over there. All right. So again, I can't do anything until I have 1,000 wood, and then I need to build. Yes. Sometimes the AI does it. Yeah, he's going to totally do that. Alright, so I'm going to wait again. Just probably make your village right there. There he goes. Not a surprise. So my gold, I can't get any more gold until I start taking over other people's villages, which requires an extremely large army. So, but I can do more builders, which is what I'm going to do. To try to get more wood, because I need more wood. And he's going to, yeah, it's going to start. So I need to start moving up. And just keep an eye on my wood, and once I get 1,000 wood, then I can build another builder to get more wood. Ugh, jerk. Just blocked my movement. You see, my economy is not bad in terms of food and stuff, but you can't... I'm just going to move him here. I'm actually thinking about just parking it right here. But again, you're at such the mercy of what the map layout is. You go there. And then I'm going to build a thing there. And then next turn I can recruit another builder. Alright, so you build a lumberyard. And I can build another builder. And go from there. And then once all the tiles in this area are used up, then it's time for armies. Because you can't expand anymore. Because you can see you fill in all the available space very quickly. Because the nations are so close to each other. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try to go in that hex right there. Which I can't. So I'm actually going to found it right now. The next turn I'll be able to afford another builder. And assuming this guy doesn't block me. Okay. I can move up. I want to get these two also. Now I got to keep an eye on. Now I'm starting to get my wood increased. I actually have a pretty balanced economy, to be honest about it. So you move up. You build another builder. I'll be able to afford some really swanky units here in a little bit. Alright, well, you move there. You move there. And that's it. They're fighting over there already. Luckily, I have not been attacked. Oh, good. You move there. You move... See, I'm worried about him moving down, which I think is what he's going to do. So I'm actually just going to build that. Because I don't want to get screwed playing hot potato over there with the one unit. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought I was going to do. Alright, so now I can afford another builder. And I basically have 2 more hexes I can expand into, which is what I'm going to do, and I can actually get another builder next turn. Yeah, he moved, but we'll see what happens. So you go there, you make another builder, and then I have 1 more, basically, that I can do. Yeah, this guy's going to just take over everybody. It depends on where this... Yeah, see, he's just kind of messing around. So you build that. You go down. And next turn, you're going to build that. And then we will start worrying about military units. Once everything's filled in. Alright, you build that. Now... He's... I don't know what that's doing. That's such a waste of resources, too, having us... He has a settler he can't use. Because there's nowhere to go. Because all the planes and stuff is all used up. So, he basically has 2,000 of each of the resources just tied up in something that he can't do. I'm going to build my 1 more guy. And I'm going to send him up here and try to get this this tile. I'm actually taking a lot of wood now, so that should be pretty good. Hopefully this guy won't get in my way. Alright, so let's talk about military units. So you can create an army. These are the different types of units. You can see the costs down here. Kind of want knights. The problem is, you see the maintenance for these things are like insane. So by building one of those, I'm essentially going to kill my economy. So I don't know if I actually want to do that. The horsemen I will actually probably do, because that's not too bad. Okay, so there's a horseman. Each of your armies can consist of up to 5 units of 5 different types, and each unit is actually 30 units. Now, I'm going to keep this guy here and basically recruit units to the army every turn that I can, because once they move away from your starting town, you can't like combine armies, which is kind of annoying. There's a cap based on how many villages you have, so since I have a town and 2 villages, I can have 3 armies of 5 units each. So it's usually a good idea to fill out your army, unless you're being attacked, before you start venture out. So I'm going to keep that guy there, and then try to recruit, hopefully, a varied selection of things. Okay, so that guy's going far away from that. So you go there, and I'll move him over there next turn. Can do a swordsman, which is good. Basically anything swordsman up. I'd love to get a swordsman, a spearman, a bowman, and a crossbowman, or something like that. Or maybe 2 swordsmen, 1 spear, and 1 ranged. Would be kind of my goal. But again, every time you do that, it decreases your income, so you better be able to kill something once you do that. So I'll do another swordsman. And then I want to get some ranged units. Oof, they're fighting over there. Fighting amongst themselves. Alright, so you can build that. And that is the end of my expand. That's every tile except for this one. So now I have to go on the offensive and figure out who I want to attack. Let's see. So if I click on them, click on their flag, he has 1. He's really weak. Now he's allied with 2 people. I'm not allied with anybody, unfortunately. Usually the AI will do something. So those guys and those guys, which are not really near me, so I don't really care. This guy is probably stronger. Yeah, he has 4 armies and a 46,000. Yeah, he has way less armies though, so I'm actually going to probably go after this guy, Hargard Land, down here, and take some of his stuff. I love to get these villages, but it kind of requires a pretty big army, actually. So, here's the idle thing that I talked about. Now, in order to get... I need a lot of wood. I need 2,500 or 3,000, and I need more gold, so I can't really do anything right now anyway. Nope, one more. The next turn it should be okay-ish. There we go. I can actually get a spearman or a... They're the same cost. Actually, I might just... Actually, I'm going to wait. Because there's no reason to decrease my income when I'm not going to move until I have a full army anyway. So, I'm going to wait until I have almost 2,000 and 6,000 before I recruit anything. So it's really going to be the 6,000. So probably, because it'll take a turn to recruit, and then the next turn I can do that's probably 2 more turns. Yeah, next turn I'll do a recruit. I should have this timed out right. So, I don't know what they have. I'm going to guess bowmen are fine. So we'll do a bowman and a spearman. And then we're going to go venture out and attack people. Okay, that's it. So that's basically it. So that's my turn. Now I'm going to start attacking people. Not the blue guy, or the not the cross guy, but this guy down here, because he, I think, is still. Oh, he has no army. Well, that's comforting. All right, well, let's go then. What do I actually want? I actually want his village. Well, let me go storm his farm first, actually. Because it'll be easier, basically. Alright, and then I'll declare war on him next turn here. Alright, so diplomacy is really simplistic. You either can offer a peace treaty, an alliance, or declare war. That's it. There's no trade of resources, which would have been really nice with the way the economies. I would love to sell my food for gold to do some sort of trade, but again, that's not a possibility in there. Another limitation of it. So I'm going to declare war. So now I'm actually at war against 3 people, but it's okay. So I'm going to conquer. I don't see any reason to raise and destroy, because then you just have to rebuild it. So we'll conquer that. We have 150 of my soldiers against 90 locals. So I'm going to fight the battle, although normally I would resolve that because I should be pretty good. So when you have a battle, you can issue little commands here for the tactics. You can stand ground, you can fight offensively, or you could use missiles. So obviously my missile troops are going to use missiles. And then decide what type of formation you have. 1, 2, or 3 lines there. So that's basically that. So here we go. It's just order your troops around. So let's go fight some locals. Yeah, there they go. They can change the speed also. And the camera controls are not great. You can do this and kind of move forward and see stuff. But, everybody go over here. They're firing their missiles, so that's good. I do like the information on here is pretty easy at a glance. So it shows you whether they're moving, fighting, or using their arrows. And my horses are not doing great. Let's retreat. Oh, there we go. Total victory. So I defeated all them. So I got 13 and they suffered 90. Not a surprise. So that means I get that farm, which increases my food income and all that stuff. Now, I did suffer some casualties here with my horse guys. So I would have to go back to one of my villages in order to re-heal them. Now, all the tiles here that you could attack all have some sort of native defensive population. So, for example, I would go after this village next. And then attack it next turn. So, conquer. So here now they have 90 locals against my 137, and there's a walls and stuff. So, ooh. Alright, so let's bring these guys up first. I'll bring the horses in last, I think, this time, especially because I only have 13. And hopefully we'll go okay this time. Hold on, shift to go faster. There we go. Yay! So, fairly simplistic battles, but I do like the interface on it. Yeah, we should be able to win this pretty easily. Auto-resolve can give you some really interesting results. There you go. So, hooray. I suffered 35 and they suffered 90. But that's my village, so I should be able to heal them. Since I conquered that village. So there you go. So that's my village now. And they're fully healed except for these guys, which don't have enough money for that. They might come in and try to attack me next. Well, that's their headquarters, so... and that's basically it. So, you know, I'm actually in pretty good shape. I actually started out with a pretty decent spot. I think I'm going to go attack this village. I'm going to auto-resolve it. And we'll see if it's the same. Yeah, only 28, so that's not terrible. I lost my horse guys, though, unfortunately. So, re-heal. The heal cost is, like, insanely high also. So, anyway. But then, you know, I would continue to go after this guy, and then probably this guy. He's got nothing. And then go on from there. This blue guy is pretty strong. This guy's pretty strong, although it seems like he's getting attacked. This guy's really strong. So again, not a bad thing. So, you know, overall the idea of Chieftain is pretty good. I like having a more simplistic, approachable take on 4X games. I like the randomized maps, you know, the ability to have a different map every time. The interface is decently good, although I'd like to have the ability to have units guard or sentry on a position so you don't have to stare at the little question mark idle thing over here. Every turn when you just want them to sit still. The resources, you know, are very straightforward on how you collect them. They're very specific tiles, which I think is probably my main problem with the game. You're really at the mercy of the terrain. You can get a really bad starting position, where especially because you're almost always up against other nations to start out with. So and you can't adjust the proximity to the other nations from the map generator screen. So you're really, you know, once you run out of space, that's the resources you're going to get until you start conquering people. So it's really a matter of how lucky did you get with what tiles are near you. Like you see this guy over here has like a bunch of villages, so he's swimming in gold. So he can afford some pretty good units. You know, if you're surrounded by desert and tundra, you're not going to win. Or the ocean, for that matter. You know, I've been stuck on like a couple areas on a peninsula before and started with 3 tiles, and there's no way you're going to win that. That wouldn't be as much of a problem if you could go in, and adjust how far you are from the other nations to begin with. You know, I'd like to at least have 2 more tiles kind of radius-wise to the next nation. And if you were able to terraform things. I would love to have the ability to terraform forest and turn it into plains, which makes sense. You could chop down the trees and turn it into plains, and then be able to build farms or villages on that. I don't mind not having the ability to go backwards. I don't mind having these useless tundra and desert tiles, or the mountains, which are also useless and you can't even move through them. I don't mind that too much, although it does kind of screw you a bit. But not having the ability to change, you know, tiles between different types, again, really puts you at the mercy of what appears next to you because you have so little area to expand into. You know, normally what will happen in the game is you have a ton of a couple resources and nothing of another resource. And then you can also not trade resources with other nations, even ones that you're allied with, which means they're going to be in the same boat. It'd be nice if there was mutually beneficial trade you could do between different nations, and that's, again, a limitation that this game doesn't have. So because of that, because you're at such a restriction based on what your tiles are, you can't trade resources and you can't terraform to change what the resources are that you can access. It makes it so the game is too much luck beyond the initial strategy of which directions to expand into. Resources just directly determine what you can recruit on the army screen, as it would be in every strategy game. So because of that, because of how random the beginning of the game is, the game is so close to being a decent 4X game, but the reliance on your initial starting position and the resources attainable in your adjacent tiles is too strong for me to recommend this title. That's all I have for today. Till next time, bye now.